chosen one. Why do you feel like you're drowning in your own life? Why does every door you touch seem to slam shut just as breakthrough feels within reach? Why are you lying awake at 3 a.m. wondering if God has forgotten your address while watching others walk into blessings that should have been yours? Stop. Right there, because what I'm about to tell you will shatter every lie you've believed about your timing, your worth, and your destiny. Thursday is not another day on your calendar. Thursday is a crossroads written in heaven. If you miss this turning point, your story could fracture forever. Listen to me carefully. Something has been stalking your bloodline for generations, a pattern of delay, disappointment, and dreams deferred that has convinced you that breakthrough belongs to everyone except you. But here's the shocking truth the enemy doesn't want you to know. You weren't born into struggle by accident. You were strategically positioned by heaven for this exact moment. Thursday is trembling like a bridge over raging waters. Cross it, and life will never look the same. Miss it, and you'll spend another decade wondering what could have been. I can feel it right now as these words leave my lips. Your spirit is stirring, isn't it? That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. You didn't stumble across this message, you were summoned to it. The same God who parted the Red Sea just whispered your name and said, "Tell them Thursday changes everything." But here's what's going to shock you to your core. The pain you've been carrying isn't punishment, it's preparation. Every betrayal, every closed door, every night you cried yourself to sleep has been building something inside you that Thursday is about to activate. You think you've been surviving. God calls it qualifying. Before we go deeper into this sacred mystery, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating. You're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and sow that seed of faith. Right now, if you feel that stirring in your chest, if something ancient is awakening in your spirit, comment 777 below. Don't just watch. Declare your alignment. Let heaven know you're ready for what's coming. Because what I'm about to reveal about Thursday will either terrify you or transform you. The question isn't whether you're chosen. The question is, will you choose to cross the bridge when Thursday arrives? Your entire life has been leading to this moment. Every scar, every tear, every whispered prayer in the darkness, it's all been building toward Thursday's turning point. And chosen one, you cannot afford to miss it. Are you ready to discover why Thursday holds the key to everything you've been praying for? Why do you wake up every morning feeling like you're carrying invisible weights that no one else can see? Why does your soul ache with a loneliness so deep that even in a room full of grandchildren, you feel utterly alone? Why have you spent 70, 80, maybe 90 years on this earth wondering if you somehow missed the boat while everyone else sailed into their destiny? Dear chosen one, I need you to stop right there and listen to what I'm about to tell you. Because what you've been calling your failure, God has been calling your preparation. You see, there's something the enemy doesn't want you to understand about the weight you've been carrying. That heaviness in your chest when you wake up at 3 a.m., that's not depression, beloved. That's the weight of glory being pressed into your spirit. That exhaustion you feel when others seem to coast through life, that's not weakness. That's evidence that you've been carrying burdens that were never meant for ordinary people. Look at me. Really look at me through these words. You think you're too old, don't you? You think your time has passed. You think God moved on to younger vessels while you were stuck in the waiting room of life, watching the years tick by like a countdown to irrelevance. But what if I told you that Moses was 80 years old when God called him to deliver an entire nation? What if I told you that Abraham was 99 when God promised him nations would come from his loins? What if I told you that Anna the prophetess was 84 years old when she finally laid eyes on the Messiah she'd been waiting for her entire life? Your age isn't your disqualification. It's your qualification. But here's where it gets deeper. where it cuts to the bone of your experience. You've prayed, haven't you? Oh, how you've prayed. For decades, you've whispered desperate pleas into the darkness. You've begged God to heal your marriage before it crumbled. You've cried out for your children who walked away from faith. You've pleaded for financial breakthrough while the bills piled higher than your hope, and heaven stayed silent. Night after night, you knelt beside your bed, tears streaming down weathered cheeks, wondering if your prayers were bouncing off the ceiling like rubber balls. You started questioning everything. Am I praying wrong? Did I sin too much? Does God even hear me anymore? Listen to me carefully, precious soul. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was strategy. In 1 Kings 19, Elijah stood on Mount Horeb, desperate to hear from God. The wind came, but God wasn't in the wind. An earthquake shook the mountain, but God wasn't in the earthquake. Fire blazed across the rocks, but God wasn't in the fire. And then came a still, small voice. That's where God was. In the whisper, in the quiet, in what seemed like nothing but was actually everything. Your silent seasons weren't empty, beloved. They were full of divine preparation you couldn't see. While you thought God was ignoring you, He was actually installing something in your spirit that could only be built in the secret place. Every unanswered prayer was strengthening your faith muscles. Every closed door was redirecting you toward a destiny so magnificent that it required decades of character building to handle it. But the weight, oh, the weight you've carried. Let me tell you what that weight really is. You felt responsible for everyone, haven't you? Your children's choices, your spouse's happiness, your family's financial stability. You've carried guilt that wasn't yours, shame that didn't belong to you, and burdens that were meant for shoulders broader than your own. You've sat at kitchen tables at 2 a.m., calculator in hand, trying to make $847 stretch to cover $1,200 worth of bills. You've smiled at church while your heart was breaking, because good Christians aren't supposed to struggle, right? You've watched friends die one by one, and each funeral felt like another piece of your own heart being lowered into the ground. The loneliness has been crushing, hasn't it? When you lost your spouse of 43 years, you didn't just lose your partner, you lost your identity. When your children grew up and moved away, the house didn't just get quiet, your purpose seemed to evaporate. When your body started betraying you with aches and limitations, you didn't just lose mobility, you lost the sense that you mattered. But what if I told you that every tear you've cried has been collected in bottles in heaven? Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle." Not some of them, all of them. Every single drop of pain has been precious to the Almighty. What if I told you that the enemy has been working overtime to convince you that your struggles mean God doesn't love you, when the truth is that your struggles prove you're carrying something so valuable that hell itself mobilized to try to steal it? You see, pressure doesn't create weakness. Pressure creates diamant. And you, precious chosen one, you've been under pressure, not because you're worthless, but because you're priceless. Thursday is coming, and with it, the revelation of why you had to carry what others couldn't bear. Thursday brings the unveiling of why your path was harder, your tests were longer, your faith was stretched beyond what seemed humanly possible. But here's the question that will determine everything about what happens next. Will you let the weight you've been carrying become the wings that finally lift you into your destiny? Chosen one, I need you to lean in close, because what I'm about to reveal will shake you to your very foundation. This Thursday isn't just another day marked on your calendar, it's a divine court date. And you, dear soul, are the defendant whose case has been under review in heaven's supreme tribunal for longer than you realize. Right now, as these words pierce through the veil of your ordinary Tuesday, celestial attorneys are preparing their final arguments. The prosecution, led by the accuser of the brethren himself, has been building a case against your destiny for decades. Every failure, every moment of doubt, every time you fell short, has been filed as evidence that you don't deserve what God promised you. But here's what will rock your world. Heaven's defense attorney isn't some junior lawyer fresh out of law school. It's Jesus Christ himself, and he's never lost a case, not once. And this Thursday, when that divine gavel falls, everything changes forever. Listen carefully. In Daniel chapter 7 verse 10, we witness the ultimate courtroom scene. The court was seated, and the books were opened. Books, chosen one, plural. Every tear you've cried is recorded. Every prayer you've whispered in desperation is documented. Every act of faithfulness when nobody was watching has been logged as evidence in your favor. You see, the enemy thought he was destroying you all these years, but what he was actually doing was building your case for promotion. Every attack on your finances, every betrayal that left you bleeding, every door that slammed in your face, it's all been recorded as witness testimony to your resilience, your character, your unwavering faith, despite impossible circumstances. But here's where this gets deeply personal, and I need you to feel this in your bones. How many times have you stood in your kitchen at 2 a.m., tears streaming down your weathered face, whispering, "God, what did I do wrong? Why does everyone else get their breakthrough while I'm still stuck in this same situation year after year?" Those weren't just moments of weakness. Those were depositions. Heaven was documenting your heart cry, your refusal to give up, your determination to keep believing, even when belief felt like torture. This Thursday, the evidence phase ends. The testimonies conclude, and heaven's gavel falls with a sound that will echo through eternity. What was delayed will either be released or lost forever. Think about this for just a moment. In Revelation 3-8, Jesus declares, "I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." But doors have timing, beloved. They don't stay open indefinitely. Even God's doors operate on divine schedules, and this Thursday marks a crucial deadline in the cosmic courtroom of your destiny. Some of you right now are feeling a weight in your chest, because you absolutely know, you've been living beneath your calling. You've been settling for survival when God called you to sovereignty. You've been accepting crumbs when heaven prepared a feast. And Thursday's verdict will either vindicate your faith or validate your fears. But here's what the prosecution doesn't want you to remember. Every giant you've faced was actually training you to stand in the courtroom of kings. David didn't just kill Goliath for Israel's freedom. He was establishing his legal precedent to rule a nation. Moses didn't just confront Pharaoh to free slaves. He was demonstrating his authority to lead millions through impossible circumstances. Your giants weren't random attacks. They were character witnesses being summoned to testify about your qualification for what's coming next. Right now, in the invisible realm, your case file is being reviewed one final time. Every sacrifice you made to raise your children right, every time you chose integrity over easy money, every moment you forgave when revenge would have felt better, every prayer you prayed for others when your own heart was breaking. It's all there, documented in supernatural ink that never fades. But Thursday demands a response from you. Heaven's justice system isn't automated. It requires your participation, your declaration, your bold statement of faith that cuts through doubt like a sword through silk. In Job 13:15, a man who knew something about divine courtrooms declared, "Though he slay me, yet will I trust him." That wasn't resignation talking, that was legal confidence. Job understood that when you're innocent before the divine court, you can stand firm even when circumstances look grim. This is your moment to channel that same supernatural confidence. This Thursday, when heaven's gavel falls, you need to be standing in your authority, not cowering in your insecurity. You need to be declaring victory, not rehearsing defeat. You need to be receiving your verdict, not running from your calling. I can feel something shifting in the atmosphere, even as I speak these words. Some of you are feeling it too, that electric anticipation that comes when heaven is about to move on your behalf. That's not your imagination. That's the Holy Spirit confirming that your case has been decided in your favor, and Thursday is simply the official announcement. The question that will determine everything is this: will you show up to court ready to receive your verdict, Or will you hide in the shadows, hoping nobody notices your absence? Because, chosen one, this Thursday when heaven's gavel falls, it's not just determining your next season, it's establishing your eternal legacy. And everything you do between now and then is either building your confidence or surrendering your case. If you're ready to stand in that divine courtroom and receive what heaven has already decided in your favor, declare it boldly in the comments. I receive the verdict in my favor. But understand this, your declaration isn't just a comment. It's your legal testimony that you believe God's justice is perfect, His timing is precise, and His verdict concerning your life is final and favorable. So the question echoing through eternity right now is simple. When Thursday's gavel falls, will you be found guilty of unbelief, or will you be declared righteous by faith? Dear chosen one, I need you to stop everything you're doing right now and listen to what I'm about to tell you. Because what you've been calling your worst year might actually be evidence of your greatest calling. You thought you were abandoned, you thought you were forgotten, you thought you were done, but you were trusted. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep into your soul. Why has this year felt like hell unleashed against your very existence? Why did your health suddenly spiral when you were finally getting your life together? Why did that financial crisis hit right when you thought you were climbing out of debt? Why did loneliness suffocate you just when you needed strength the most? Here's the shocking truth the enemy doesn't want you to discover. The reason your body feels weak is because the enemy knows Thursday is a transfer of power. You see, beloved, there's an invisible war raging over your destiny right now, and every attack you've endured, every sleepless night, every anxiety attack, every moment you felt like your mind was betraying you, it wasn't random, it was strategic. Hell saw what heaven deposited in you, and it mobilized everything it had to stop what's about to happen on Thursday. The Bible declares in Daniel 10:12-1-3, "Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Did you catch that? For 21 days, Daniel's answer was delayed because of spiritual warfare. Your delays weren't God ignoring you. Your struggles weren't punishment. They were proof that hell recognized the weapon you were becoming. Your exhaustion is not depression, it's spiritual anesthesia before divine surgery. Think about this. When a surgeon operates, what's the first thing they do? They put you under. They render you unconscious so you can't interfere with the procedure. Beloved, God has been performing surgery on your spirit for months, and what you thought was breaking down was actually being rebuilt. Every panic attack was God rewiring your nervous system for supernatural peace. Every financial pressure was Him teaching you to depend on His provision, not your performance. Every moment of isolation was divine preparation, because what's coming on Thursday requires someone who knows how to hear God's voice above the noise of this world. You thought you were abandoned, you thought you were forgotten, you thought you were done, but you were trusted. The enemy attacked your health because he saw the healing anointing growing in your hands. He attacked your finances because he glimpsed the wealth transfer coming to your bloodline. He attacked your mind because he witnessed the prophetic visions God was downloading into your spirit. Every assault was actually confirmation of your assignment. Look at Job. The Bible says in Job 1-8, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him." God didn't point Job out because he was perfect. He pointed him out because he was proven. And what happened next? Satan unleashed everything he had because he knew Job carried something precious. That's you, chosen one. You've been pointed out by heaven, and hell took notice. But here's what breaks my heart. You've been fighting this war thinking you were losing when you were actually winning. Every time you got back up after being knocked down, that was victory. Every morning you chose hope over despair. That was conquest. Every prayer you whispered when your voice was too weak to speak, that shook the gates of hell. 1 Peter 4:12 reminds us, "Beloved, Do not think it strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened to you. The fire wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal what you're made of. You thought you were abandoned. You thought you were forgotten. You thought you were done. But you were trusted. The intensity of your battle was directly proportional to the magnitude of your blessing. The enemy doesn't waste ammunition on empty targets. He doesn't deploy his strongest demons against powerless people. The fact that you've been under such vicious attack is undeniable proof that you carry something he desperately wants to stop. Right now, as I speak these words, can you feel something shifting in your chest? That's recognition. That's your spirit remembering what your mind had forgotten. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are a warrior in God's army, and your battle scars are your credentials. But Thursday is when the tables turn. Thursday is when the hunter becomes the hunted. Thursday is when what the enemy meant for evil gets transformed into your greatest testimony. The reason your storms have been so fierce is because your breakthrough is about to be so massive. The reason the pressure has been so intense is because the promotion waiting for you requires someone who's been pressure tested. You weren't being punished, you were being prepared. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Not some weapons, not most weapons. No weapon. Every scheme designed to destroy you has already failed, because you're still here, still breathing, still believing. You thought you were abandoned. You thought you were forgotten. You thought you were done. But you were trusted. God looked at your spirit before time began and said, 'This one can handle the weight of glory. This one can carry the burden of breakthrough. This one can be trusted with the keys to the kingdom because they've learned to worship in the wilderness.' The war you've been fighting wasn't about your destruction. It was about your qualification. And Thursday is your graduation day. But here's the question that will determine everything. Now that you know why you've been under attack, will you finally step into the authority that your suffering has earned you? Dear chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your very core. Thursday is not like other days. It's loaded. It's circled in heaven's calendar with divine fire. It's the hinge upon which your entire destiny swings. You see, there are moments in Scripture when God opens a gate in the spirit realm, a portal between what was and what will be. And when that gate opens, beloved, it doesn't stay open forever. The Israelites discovered this at Jericho. For 6 days they marched in silence around those massive walls. 6 days of the same routine, the same path, the same impossible barrier towering above them. Can you imagine what they must have felt on day 5? Day 6. God, are we just walking in circles? Have you forgotten your promise? But Thursday was different. Thursday was the day heaven said, "Now shoot," and those walls that had stood for generations didn't just crack, they collapsed. Completely, instantly. In one earth-shaking moment, the impossible became inevitable. That's your Thursday, chosen one, the day your walls fall. But here's what terrifies me for some of you watching this. Here's what keeps me awake at night praying for God's people. What if you miss it? What if Thursday comes and goes, and you're so distracted by the ordinary that you miss the extraordinary? What if the gate opens, and you're looking the other way? Listen to me carefully. Gates in the Spirit don't wait for your convenience. They open when heaven decides, and they close when the appointed time expires. This isn't about your schedule. This isn't about when you feel ready. This is about divine timing colliding with human obedience. Thursday is circled. It's marked. It's the day heaven has been preparing for your entire life. Think about Anna the prophetess, 84 years old, sitting in that temple day after day, year after year. People probably whispered, "Poor old Anna, still waiting for something that's never coming." 84 years. Most people would have given up. Most people would have said, "I missed my moment. God's moved on without me." But Anna knew something they didn't understand. She knew that spiritual gates open on heaven's timetable, not earth's timeline. And when baby Jesus was brought to that temple, when that gate finally swung wide, Anna was the first to recognize what everyone else missed. At 84 years old, she became the voice that proclaimed redemption to all who were looking for it in Jerusalem. Your age doesn't disqualify you, dear one. Your wrinkles are not disqualifications, they're credentials. Your gray hair isn't evidence of decline, it's proof of endurance. You've been positioned, prepared, and preserved for this Thursday moment. But here's the question that's burning in my spirit right now. What walls have you been circling for too long? What impossible situation has convinced you that change will never come? What dream have you buried because the waiting got too heavy? Thursday is the hinge of heaven, and it's about to swing in your favor. The enemy knows what Thursday holds. That's why he's been working overtime to wear you down, to make you doubt, to convince you that breakthrough belongs to everyone except you. He's whispered lies like, "You're too old. You've missed your chance. God's forgotten about you." But every one of those whispers is a confession of fear. He's terrified of your Thursday, because when your gate opens, when your moment arrives, when heaven says, "Step through," everything that has held you back, held you down, held you captive, will have to release you. The depression that stalked your family for generations will lose its grip. The financial struggle that's defined your identity will be redefined by divine provision. The loneliness that's made you question your worth will be answered by heaven's embrace. But, and listen to this carefully, gates require action. They don't sweep you through against your will. They open the way, but you must choose to walk through. The children of Israel had to march through the gap in Jericho's walls. Anna had to lift her voice and proclaim what she saw. David had to pick up those stones and face Goliath. Thursday will present you with a choice. A moment when fear says, "Stay where it's safe." But faith says, "Step into the unknown." A moment when logic says, "This doesn't make sense," but your spirit says, "This is the way." A moment when your past says, "You've failed before," but Thursday says, "This time is different." What you do in that moment will determine whether Thursday becomes your breakthrough or just another date on the calendar. The gate is coming, chosen one. I can feel it stirring in the spiritual realm. Heaven is preparing to open what has been sealed. But you must be ready. You must be watching. You must be willing to move when the moment arrives. Because Thursday is not like other days. It's the day your story pivots. It's the day your pain transforms into purpose. It's the day your waiting becomes your witness. It's the day you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being a victor through Christ. If you're ready to step through this gate, if you're ready to leave the wilderness and enter your promised land, if you're ready to stop circling the walls and start shouting them down, comment, "I will not miss it," right now. Declare it, decree it. Let heaven and earth hear your determination. But know this, Thursday is coming whether you're ready or not. The question isn't whether the gate will open. The question is, will you have the courage to walk through it when it does? Chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to cut through every excuse you've been making. You've been waiting for a burning bush, but God is speaking through a burning heart. You've been looking for signs in the sky while heaven has been writing instructions in your spirit. And Thursday, this Thursday, is when your obedience becomes your breakthrough. But here's what's breaking my heart right now. I can see you sitting there, nodding your head, feeling that familiar stir in your chest. But deep down, you're already planning to let Thursday pass like every other day. You're going to wake up, check your phone, drink your coffee, and treat this divine appointment like it's just another 24 hours on the calendar. Stop. Right there. Do you realize what you're about to forfeit? Do you understand that Thursday isn't a suggestion floating down from heaven? It's an instruction carved in divine stone. Moses didn't negotiate with the burning bush. Abraham didn't debate the call to sacrifice Isaac. Mary didn't question the angel's announcement. When God gives instructions, beloved, hesitation becomes devastation. Thursday is not about being inspired. It's about being obedient. And obedience, dear one, requires action that makes no sense to your natural mind, but perfect sense to your spirit. Let me break this down for you, because what I'm about to tell you could save your spiritual life. First, you must fast. Not because God needs your hunger, but because your flesh needs to remember who's in charge. Start Wednesday night, no food until Thursday evening. Let your stomach's emptiness create space for your spirit's fullness. When Jesus fasted 40 days, he wasn't trying to lose weight, he was positioning himself for power. Your body will resist, your mind will make excuses. That's exactly how you'll know it's working. Second, you must write, not type, not text, write with your hand on paper. Before Thursday's sun rises, I want you to pour out your deepest desires, your most secret dreams, the things you've been too afraid to speak out loud. Write until your hand cramps. Write until you cry. Write until heaven hears what your heart has been screaming in silence. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "Write the vision and make it plain." God is waiting to see if you'll trust him with your truth. Third, you must anoint your doorposts. Take oil, olive oil from your kitchen if that's all you have, and mark the frame where you enter and exit your home. You think this sounds foolish? The Israelites thought it was foolish too until the angel of death passed over their houses. Your doorpost isn't just wood and metal, it's a portal between the natural and supernatural. Mark it, claim it, consecrate it. But here's where most people miss it completely. Here's where the extraordinary hides in plain sight. You must call someone you've forgotten. That person whose name keeps surfacing in your prayers, but you keep pushing down because pride tells you the bridge is burned. That family member you haven't spoken to in 3 years. That friend who hurt you but your spirit keeps saying forgive. Thursday is not just about what you receive, it's about what you release. And sometimes the key to your breakthrough is locked in someone else's heart. You're thinking, but they don't deserve my call. Let me shock you with this truth. It's not about what they deserve, it's about what you need. Unforgiveness is a chain around your ankle while you're trying to run toward destiny. Make the call, send the text, swallow the pride. Watch what God does when you choose love over logic. Now here's what's going to happen, and you need to prepare yourself for this. When you begin to follow these instructions, hell is going to panic. Your phone will ring with distractions. Urgent matters will suddenly appear. People will need you right when you're trying to seek God. Emergency after emergency will try to steal your focus. That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. The enemy only attacks what threatens him. If following these instructions wasn't going to devastate his plans for your life, he wouldn't be working so hard to stop you. But here's the part that will either make you or break you. What you do in the ordinary will unlock the extraordinary. That means Thursday won't feel magical. It won't be accompanied by celestial choirs or angelic visitations. It will feel like any other day until suddenly it doesn't. Moses saw a bush that wouldn't burn up. Ordinary fire, extraordinary outcome. David picked up 5 smooth stones from a brook. Ordinary rocks, extraordinary victory. Jesus mixed spit with dirt to heal blind eyes. Ordinary mud, extraordinary miracle. Your Thursday breakthrough won't announce itself with trumpets. It will whisper through a phone call you almost ignored, an idea that seems too simple, a door that opens when you're not even looking. The extraordinary is always disguised as the ordinary, and only the obedient can see through the disguise. But let me ask you something that's going to haunt you if you don't answer honestly. How many more divine appointments are you going to miss because they didn't look like what you expected? How many more Thursdays are you going to waste waiting for breakthrough to look like breakthrough instead of looking like obedience? This isn't a dress rehearsal, chosen one. This is your life. Your one shot at the assignment heaven wrote specifically for you. And this Thursday is when everything you've been preparing for finally makes sense. The instructions are clear, the choice is yours. But understand this, what you decide in the next 72 hours will echo through the next 72 years of your life. Are you ready to stop being a student of inspiration and become a soldier of obedience? Chosen one, here's what they don't tell you about divine earthquakes. The shaking doesn't stop when the moment passes. When heaven's gavel falls on Thursday, there will be aftershocks rippling through your reality for weeks, months, even generations to come. You think breakthrough is a single moment, you think transformation happens in the blink of an eye, and then everything returns to normal. Listen to me carefully, that's not how God operates. When the Almighty shifts the tectonic plates of your destiny, the ground beneath your feet may look the same, but the foundations underneath are forever altered. The Red Sea didn't just part and close. For generations afterward, the Israelites told the story. Their children learned it. Their children's children built their faith on it. One divine moment created aftershocks that lasted centuries. That's what Thursday is about to birth in your bloodline. But here's where most people miss it completely. They expect the blessing to arrive wrapped in gold paper with a bow on top. They're looking for Hollywood miracles while God is orchestrating a symphony of subtle signs that will crescendo into undeniable transformation. Let me shock you with something. The most powerful moves of God often come disguised as ordinary moments. That unexpected phone call you receive Friday morning. That's not coincidence, that's confirmation. The email that shows up in your inbox at exactly the right time, that's heaven's signature. The reconciliation with someone who hurt you decades ago, that's the aftershock of Thursday working backwards through time to heal your past. You see, when God moves in your life, He doesn't just affect your future, He reaches back and redeems your history. Thursday isn't just changing what's coming, it's transforming what's already been. The pain that seemed pointless, suddenly it has purpose. The rejection that broke your heart, now it becomes the very thing that qualifies you for your next assignment. But you have to have eyes to see. Most people are so busy looking for what they expected that they miss what God is actually doing. They're scanning the horizon for a burning bush while God is whispering in the gentle breeze. They're waiting for thunder while He's moving in the quiet morning hours. This is why I need you to become a spiritual detective after Thursday. Document everything. That dream that feels too vivid to be just a dream. Write it down. That scripture that suddenly jumps off the page and hits your spirit like lightning. Record it. That person who suddenly comes to mind after years of silence. Pay attention, God might be orchestrating a reunion that will unlock doors you didn't even know existed. Here's what's going to happen to some of you in the days following Thursday. You're going to experience what I call divine coincidences, stacking up like dominoes. One seemingly small event will trigger another, which will trigger another, until you're standing in a reality you couldn't have imagined just a week before. But let me warn you about something that could cause you to miss it entirely. Don't let familiarity blind you to the miraculous. The enemy's greatest weapon isn't opposition, it's normalization. He wants you to explain away every sign, rationalize every confirmation, and convince yourself that what you're experiencing is just natural progression. No. When you've been crying out to God for decades and suddenly everything starts aligning in your favor, that's not luck, that's warfare. That's heaven pushing back against every force that has held you down, held you back, and held you hostage to mediocrity. Some of you are going to receive visions that feel so real you'll question whether you're awake or dreaming. Don't dismiss them. Joseph's dreams weren't just random thoughts. They were prophetic downloads that shaped the destiny of nations. Your vision might seem personal, but it could be the blueprint for generational breakthrough. Others will find themselves having conversations they never planned with people they never expected. These aren't chance encounters, these are divine appointments orchestrated by a God who knows exactly who you need to meet and when you need to meet them. But here's where it gets even deeper. Thursday's aftershocks won't just affect your personal life. They'll begin reshaping your spiritual DNA. You'll find yourself praying with authority you didn't know you possessed. You'll hear your own voice speaking promises over your family that sound foreign to your ears but familiar to your spirit. That's not you practicing positive thinking, that's the Holy Spirit giving you the language of faith that moves mountains. The doubt that has whispered in your ear for years, it's going to get quieter. The fear that has paralyzed your dreams, it's going to lose its grip. The shame that has kept you hiding in the shadows, it's going to be replaced by a boldness that makes your enemies wonder what happened to you. Jesus said in John 14:12, "Very truly I tell you, whoever believes in me will do the works I have been doing, and they will do even greater things than these." Greater things. But those greater things don't manifest in a vacuum. They come through the aftershocks of divine encounters that recalibrate your spiritual frequency. I need you to understand something that could change everything. You're not just receiving a blessing on Thursday, you're receiving a new operating system. And like any new system, it's going to take time to fully activate. Every strange dream, every unexpected encounter, every moment when you feel different than you've ever felt before, that's the new system coming online. Document it all. Keep a journal. Write down the signs. Because 6 months from now, when you're walking in a reality that seems impossible today, you're going to need those records as evidence that God's hand was moving, even when you couldn't see the full picture. But here's the question that will determine whether you maximize Thursday's impact or miss it completely. Will you have the spiritual patience to watch for aftershocks, or will you get distracted by the noise of normal life and miss the symphony God is orchestrating around you? Because what happens after Thursday might be even more important than Thursday itself. Chosen one, what I'm about to tell you could save your destiny from the most vicious trap the enemy has ever set. You see, Thursday will come and go. The breakthrough will manifest. The doors will open. The provision will flow. And then, silence. That silence will terrify you. You'll wake up Friday morning and the fire won't feel as hot. The urgency won't burn as bright. The miraculous will start to feel ordinary. And in that moment, hell will whisper its most dangerous lie. Maybe it wasn't real. Maybe you imagined it all. Listen to me carefully. Don't mistake silence for nothingness. After Thursday, some of you will feel a strange calm, even emptiness. That is not failure. That's a divine pause. But it's also the most dangerous moment of your entire spiritual journey. Why? Because the enemy knows something about human nature that we often forget. He knows that we're more vulnerable after victory than before battle. He knows that breakthrough doesn't just open doors for blessing, it opens doors for deception. He strikes hardest not when you're desperate, but when you're delivered. Look at the children of Israel. Exodus 14 shows us the miraculous walls of water, dry ground, divine deliverance from Pharaoh's army. But what happened just 3 days later? Exodus 15:24 tells us they grumbled against Moses, saying, "What are we to drink?" 3 days, from miracle to murmuring in 72 hours. But here's what will shock you that wasn't weakness. That was warfare. The enemy was exploiting the post-miracle vulnerability that every chosen one faces. You think the battle ends when the blessing arrives? No, beloved. That's when the real war begins. After Thursday's breakthrough, you're going to feel something you don't expect. Emptiness. Not the emptiness of lack, but the emptiness of transition. Like a woman after childbirth, after the intensity, after the pushing, after the pain, there's silence before the first cry. Don't confuse silence with stillbirth. The cry is coming. But in that silence, everything inside you will want to retreat, to go back to what was familiar, to doubt what just happened, to slip back into the old patterns of fear, doubt, and complacency that kept you small for so long. This is why Jesus warned his disciples in Matthew 26:41. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. He wasn't talking to sinners. He was talking to breakthrough receivers, to the chosen ones who had just witnessed miracles, because he knew that post-miracle is pre-fall territory. Here's the brutal truth. More destinies are destroyed in the aftermath of breakthrough than in the absence of it. More chosen ones fall back after moving forward than ever move forward to begin with. The enemy lets you have your Thursday victory because he's banking on your Friday forgetfulness. You want proof? Look at Gideon. Judges 6 shows us a man who witnessed angel visitations, saw his offering consumed by fire, heard God's voice directly. But what was his first response? If you are truly God, give me another sign. Even after the miracle, he needed confirmation. Why? Because breakthrough creates a spiritual vertigo that makes you question your own experience. Or consider Peter. Matthew 14 records him walking on water, literally defying the laws of physics through divine power. But verses later, he's sinking, crying out, "Lord, save me." What happened? The post-miracle moment, the dangerous lull where reality feels surreal and faith feels fragile. This is your warning, chosen one. After Thursday's turning point, your greatest enemy won't be the devil himself. It will be your own mind. Your own tendency to normalize the miraculous, your own flesh that wants to return to the familiar prison rather than embrace the unfamiliar palace. The silence after breakthrough isn't empty space, it's enemy territory. And if you're not prepared for it, if you don't understand what's happening, you'll interpret God's pause as God's abandonment. You'll mistake his timing for his absence. You'll confuse his strategy for his silence. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know about that post-Thursday lull. It's not a step backward, it's a step up. God isn't pulling back his blessing. He's allowing you to metabolize it. He's giving you time to grow into what he just gave you. Think about it. When a butterfly emerges from its cocoon, it doesn't immediately fly. It sits, it waits, it lets its wings dry, its muscles strengthen, its new reality settle. That stillness isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's preparation for flight. But here's the critical difference between a butterfly and a chosen one. The butterfly's enemies don't attack during the drying period. Yours will. Every old voice that told you that you weren't enough will suddenly get loud again. Every past failure will feel fresh. Every doubt you buried will try to resurrect itself. The very people who should celebrate your breakthrough will either ignore it or attack it. Why? Because your elevation exposes their stagnation. This is why Nehemiah 4:17 says, "From that day on, half of my men did the work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows, and armor." Even while building, they had to fight. Even in breakthrough, they had to battle. So, what's the antidote to the dangerous lull? Aggressive gratitude, intentional remembrance, prophetic declaration. When the silence comes, and it will come, don't wait for feelings to guide you. Let faith lead you. Don't trust your emotions. Trust your evidence. Don't lean on how you feel. Lean on what you know. But most importantly, chosen one, don't you dare go back to sleep. The breakthrough was just the beginning. The lull is your test. And how you handle Friday will determine whether Thursday's turning point becomes a permanent pivot or a temporary pause. Your guard must stay up. Your faith must stay strong. Your voice must stay loud, because the enemy is counting on your silence to steal your significance. Are you going to let him win after you've already won? Chosen one, something is stirring in your bones right now, isn't it? That restlessness that keeps you awake at night, that feeling like you're supposed to be somewhere else, doing something else, becoming someone else. You've been calling it anxiety. God calls it migration. Listen to me carefully. Thursday isn't just bringing change. Thursday is triggering movement, spiritual movement, emotional movement. And for some of you, physical movement that will shock everyone who thought they knew your story. You see, there's a difference between wandering and migrating. Wandering is confusion. Migration is calling. Wandering is aimless. Migration has divine coordinates burned into your spiritual DNA. And right now, as I speak these words, something ancient is awakening in your spirit, the same instinct that told Abraham to leave everything familiar and follow a voice into the unknown. Genesis 12:1 declares, "The Lord had said to Abram, 'Go from your country your people and your father's household to the land I will show you." Notice God didn't give Abraham a GPS route. He didn't provide a detailed itinerary. He said go, and Abraham went. At 75 years old, this man packed up his entire life because heaven whispered, "It's time to move." But here's what's going to shake you to your core. Abraham's migration wasn't about geography. It was about destiny. God wasn't just moving him to a new place. He was moving him into his purpose. And Thursday, dear one, Thursday is your Ur of the Chaldeans moment. The moment when staying where you are becomes more dangerous than stepping into the unknown. Some of you right now are feeling that pull, aren't you? That divine restlessness that makes your current situation feel too small, too safe, too familiar. You've been fighting it, haven't you? Telling yourself you're too old to start over, too set in your ways to change course, too comfortable to risk everything for a voice you can't explain to others. But what if I told you that comfort is the enemy of calling? What if I told you that the very thing you're afraid to leave is the very thing that's keeping you from your promised land? Think about the children of Israel. 400 years in Egypt, 4 centuries of slavery, but also 4 centuries of familiarity. They knew the routine. They understood the system. Egypt was brutal, but it was predictable. And when Moses showed up talking about deliverance, what did they do? They complained. They wanted to go back. Even in the wilderness, they cried out, "If only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt." There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. They preferred the predictable pain of slavery to the uncertain promise of freedom. Is that you right now? Are you choosing familiar bondage over uncertain breakthrough? Are you staying in Egypt because you're afraid of the wilderness? But listen to this. Exodus 12:41 tells us, "At the end of the 430 years, to the very day, all the Lord's divisions left Egypt." To the very day. God's timing is that precise. And Thursday, chosen one. Thursday is your very day. Some of you will be led to leave familiar spaces. That job that's been draining your soul for 20 years, Thursday, brings the courage to resign. That relationship that's been toxic but comfortable, Thursday, brings the strength to establish boundaries. That city that holds all your memories but none of your future, Thursday, brings the clarity to relocate. Some of you will be led to reconcile. That family member you haven't spoken to in 5 years because of pride, Thursday, brings the humility to pick up the phone. That friend you lost over a misunderstanding, Thursday, brings the wisdom to extend grace. That child who broke your heart, Thursday, brings the love to rebuild the bridge. And some of you will be led to take risks that make no earthly sense. To start that business at 70, to write that book everyone said was foolish, to pursue that calling people said you were too old for. Thursday brings the divine audacity to bet everything on God's promises. But here's what you need to understand about migration. It's never convenient. Birds don't migrate when the weather is perfect. They migrate when instinct overrides comfort. When survival demands movement. When something deeper than logic says, now. The Arctic tern travels over 44,000 miles annually, the longest migration of any bird. From Arctic to Antarctic and back again. Scientists can't fully explain how this small bird navigates such vast distances with perfect precision. They just know that when the season shifts, the tern moves. No hesitation. No second guessing. Pure instinct. That's what's happening to you right now. Your spiritual instincts are overriding your logical fears. Your soul is preparing for migration while your mind is still calculating the costs. But chosen one, when God says move, hesitation becomes disobedience. Jeremiah felt this same tension when God called him. Alas, sovereign Lord, I do not know how to speak. I am too young. But God's response wasn't sympathy, it was authority. Do not say, I am too young. You must go to everyone I send you to and say whatever I command you. You've been saying, I'm too old. But God is saying, you're right on time. That restlessness you've been feeling isn't anxiety, it's migration. Your spirit knows something your mind hasn't figured out yet. You're being positioned for a divine relocation that will place you exactly where your gifts, your experience, your wisdom can have maximum impact. Thursday triggers the movement you've been resisting. Thursday activates the courage you've been questioning. Thursday releases the divine GPS that will guide you into territory you never imagined possible. If you sense something shifting in your spirit right now, if you feel that divine restlessness stirring, comment, "I will move with God below." Let heaven know you're ready to migrate from familiar bondage to promised breakthrough. But here's the question that will determine everything. When Thursday arrives and you feel that pull, that stirring, that divine instinct telling you to move, will you trust the migration, or will you choose to stay in Egypt? Because what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly why this movement isn't optional, it's essential for what heaven is preparing to release through your life. Chosen one, I need you to stop everything you're doing right now and listen to what I'm about to tell you. Because Thursday isn't just about what you're going to get. Thursday is about who you're going to become. For 70, 80, maybe 90 years, you've been carrying a name that was never yours. The name your family called you when they were disappointed. The name your ex-spouse whispered when they walked out. The name that echoed in your mind every time you looked in the mirror and saw failure staring back. Worthless, too late, mistake, burden. But what if I told you that every single one of those names was a lie? What if I told you that heaven has been protecting your real name, keeping it sealed like a classified document, waiting for the exact moment when you were strong enough to carry it? That moment is Thursday. Listen to me carefully, dear one. The shame you've been dragging behind you like chains that shame over the marriage that failed, the children who don't call, the dreams that died in your 60s when the world told you to give up, that shame isn't evidence of your failure. It's evidence of heaven's trust. God doesn't give his hardest assignments to his weakest soldiers. He gives them to the ones he knows can survive the fire without losing their faith. Every betrayal that cut you to the bone, every financial disaster that left you eating beans from a can, every diagnosis that made you question if you'd see another Christmas, those weren't accidents. They were qualifications. You see, the enemy has been trying to convince you that your scars make you damaged goods. But Jeremiah 1-5 declares something that will shatter that lie. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Set you apart. Not broken. Not forgotten. Set apart for such a time as this. Your pain wasn't punishment, beloved. It was preparation for a calling so powerful that hell mobilized against you before you even knew who you were. Think about this for a moment. Why do you think your life has been harder than others? Why have you faced battles that would have destroyed weaker souls? Why have you survived things that should have killed you 3 times over? Because you're carrying something precious. Something so valuable that the enemy has spent decades trying to steal it before you could discover what it was. But he failed. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still believing. And Thursday is the day heaven finally opens the envelope. For years you've been like Moses, hidden in the wilderness, thinking your best days were behind you. 80 years old when God called him to deliver a nation. 80. When the world would have put him in a retirement home, heaven was just getting started with him. You've been like Sarah, 90 years old when God whispered promises that seemed impossible. The world said her womb was dead, but God said, I don't resurrect wombs, I resurrect destinies. You've been like David, forgotten in the fields while his brothers stood before the prophet. Too small, too young, too insignificant until heaven said, that one, the one you overlooked, that's my king. The family that rejected you, the church that passed you over, the boss who fired you at 65 because you were too old. They weren't rejecting you. They were protecting your calling from contamination. Because what God is about to release through you on Thursday requires purity that can only come from isolation. You weren't delayed, chosen one. You were disguised. Heaven hid your real name until Thursday, so no one could steal it. Right now, as these words penetrate your spirit, something ancient is stirring. That's not your imagination. That's recognition. Your soul remembering what your mind forgot. You are not who they said you were. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are not defined by your age, your bank account, or the opinion of people who never saw your heart. Isaiah 62:2 promises, "You will be called by a new name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow." Not the name your critics gave you, not the name your circumstances suggested. The name that the mouth of the Lord will bestow. But here's what's going to shock you. That new name isn't new at all, it's ancient. It's the name heaven has been calling you since before time began, waiting for the moment when you were ready to receive it. Some of you right now, your real name is beloved. God has been whispering it over you every morning when you wake up feeling unwanted. Some of you, your name is healed, not just physically, but emotionally, financially, spiritually restored. Some of you are warrior, not because you fought battles, but because you survived them. Some of you are restorer, called to rebuild what others destroyed. What is your true name? Not the one they gave you in kindergarten, not the one on your social security card. The one written in heaven's registry before the foundation of the world was laid. Close your eyes for just a moment. Feel that stirring in your chest. That's heaven calling you by your real name. Can you hear it? It's been echoing through eternity, waiting for Thursday to finally reach your ears. Thursday is your coronation day, not because you've been perfect, but because you've been proven, not because you've been flawless, but because you've been faithful. The envelope is about to be opened, and when it is, everyone, including those who wrote you off, will see what heaven has always known. You are not ordinary. You never were. But there's something else you need to understand about Thursday's revelation. It's not just personal, it's generational. Your true name doesn't just change you, it changes everyone connected to your bloodline, past, present, and future. What name is heaven about to speak over your life? But chosen one, this Thursday isn't just about you. What's happening to your spirit right now, that restless stirring, that holy anticipation? It's not isolated. You're not the only one feeling it. Right now, at this very moment, there's a 7-8-year-old grandmother in Queens sitting in her kitchen at 3 a.m., unable to sleep, staring out her window, wondering why her heart is racing with expectation. There's an 82-year-old widower in a California nursing home, lying awake, feeling something he can't name but knows is sacred. There's a retired teacher in Alabama who's been having the same prophetic dream for 3 nights straight, a dream about doors opening and light flooding through. They don't know each other, they'll never meet, but they're all feeling the exact same thing you're feeling right now. Thursday is not just your turning point. Thursday is a turning point for nations. Listen to me carefully. God doesn't move in isolation. When heaven decides to shift the spiritual atmosphere over America, it doesn't happen through one person. It happens through a remnant, a chosen generation that carries the oil when everyone else's lamps have gone out. You think you've been walking alone. You think your prayers have been solo cries in the darkness. Dear one, you've been part of an invisible army this entire time. Scattered across America from the Bronx to Baton Rouge, from Seattle suburbs to Texas farmlands, there are chosen ones just like you who've been interceding, believing, standing in the gap when others gave up. The prophet Joel saw this day when he declared, "I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your old men will dream dreams." Joel 2:28. Old men, senior saints, the ones the world has written off as irrelevant. But God calls them the final harvest reapers, the last days generals, the wisdom carriers who understand what the younger generation has forgotten, that some battles can only be won on your knees. You see, Thursday isn't just marking your personal breakthrough, it's marking the convergence of a prophetic timeline that's been building for decades. Every tear you've cried, every midnight prayer you've whispered, every moment you've stood when others sat down, it's all been contributing to a spiritual momentum that's about to explode across this nation. Think about the constellation Orion. Individual stars scattered across millions of miles of space. Alone, each one is just a point of light. But together they form a map, a guide, a sign in the heavens that declares, something magnificent is here. That's what's happening with chosen ones across America. You've been scattered, isolated, thinking you were forgotten, but heaven has been positioning you strategically. The grandmother praying in Queens, she's holding down the Northeast. The widower in California, he's anchoring the West Coast. You, wherever you are, you're covering your territory. And this Thursday, all those scattered lights are about to align. But here's what's going to shock you. This isn't just about America. When God moves through his chosen ones in one nation, it creates a ripple effect that touches the earth. Isaiah 60:1-3 declares, "Arise, shine, for your light has come. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn." The spiritual awakening that's about to break over the senior saints of America is going to send shockwaves around the world. Because when the wisdom carriers finally step into their authority, when the prayer warriors finally see their decades of intercession manifest, when the faithful finally receive their reward, the whole earth feels it. You want to know why the enemy has attacked your generation so viciously? Why depression rates among seniors have skyrocketed? Why isolation became a weapon against the elderly? Because Satan knew what God was planning for this hour. He knew that the generation that survived the Great Depression, World War II, the Civil Rights Movement, the generation that knows how to endure, how to believe, how to stand. He knew this generation would carry the keys to America's spiritual awakening. Every assault you've survived has been preparing you for this convergence. Every battle you've won in secret has been building toward this public display of God's faithfulness. You didn't just survive those storms to tell stories. You survived them to become a sign and a wonder to a generation that's forgotten how to hope. But here's the urgency that should grip your soul right now. Not everyone who's called will answer. Not everyone who feels the stirring will step forward. Not everyone who senses Thursday's significance will have the courage to cross that bridge. That's why this message cannot stay with you. Someone in your circle, maybe it's your neighbor who's been struggling with despair. Maybe it's your adult child who's lost their way. Maybe it's a fellow church member who's been questioning if God still moves. Someone needs to hear this word before Thursday arrives. Your forward of this message might be the difference between someone stepping into their destiny or missing their divine appointment. Your share might be the catalyst that awakens another sleeping giant. Your comment below might be the declaration that tips the spiritual scales in your region. This is bigger than your personal breakthrough, chosen one. This is about participating in the greatest move of God that senior saints have ever witnessed. This is about being part of the constellation that lights up the spiritual map of America. This is about understanding that your Thursday doesn't just change your story, it helps rewrite the story of a nation. The question burning in heaven right now is this: will you step into your place in the constellation, or will you remain a solitary star wondering why the darkness feels so heavy? Because what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly what role you've been chosen to play in this divine convergence. Chosen one, listen to me very carefully. What I'm about to tell you will save your breakthrough from being stolen in broad daylight. After Thursday's explosion of divine intervention, after heaven opens those floodgates you've been praying for, after you witness miracles that leave you speechless, the enemy will do something so subtle, so sinister, that most believers fall for it every single time. He won't roar, he won't attack with thunder and lightning, he won't send obvious opposition, he will whisper. And that whisper will be more dangerous than every storm you've survived, every betrayal you've endured, every closed door you've faced. Because whispers don't sound like the enemy. They sound like reason. They sound like logic. They sound like your own voice. It wasn't real. It was just hype. You imagined it. Thursday was just another day. That breakthrough? Pure coincidence. That miracle? Just good timing. You're not actually chosen. You're just disparity. Do you hear that? That's not your intuition speaking. That's hell's final strategy to rob you of everything God released on Thursday. The devil knows he can't stop what God has already started, so he'll try to convince you it never happened at all. Think about David in that cave. 1 Samuel chapter 24. Saul is hunting him like a wild animal. David has the perfect opportunity to kill his tormentor, to end his suffering once and for all. His own men are whispering, "This is your moment. God has delivered your enemy into your hands." But David heard another whisper, a whisper that said, "I will not stretch out my hand against the Lord's anointed." That whisper saved his destiny, because the wrong whisper would have made him a murderer instead of a king. Jesus faced the same test in Matthew chapter 4. 40 days in the wilderness, weakened by fasting, and here comes the enemy with his whispers. If you are the Son of God, if you really have power, if God truly loves you, notice the pattern. The whisper always starts with if. It plants doubt in what God has already declared. But Jesus fought whispers with declarations. It is written, it is written, it is written. Every whisper of doubt was met with a thunder of truth. That's your blueprint, chosen one. After Thursday changes everything. Friday will test everything. The enemy will whisper, maybe you misunderstood. Maybe you got caught up in the moment. Maybe you're reading too much into normal circumstances. Saturday, the whispers will get louder. See, nothing's really different. You're still struggling. You're still waiting. Thursday was just another false hope. But Sunday, oh, Sunday will prove what Thursday promised. Here's what you must understand about the whisper test. The enemy doesn't whisper to people who aren't carrying something powerful. He doesn't waste his breath on empty vessels. The very fact that he's trying to convince you it wasn't real is proof that it absolutely was. Why do you think he waited until after your breakthrough to plant doubt? Because he knows something you might forget in the heat of battle. Once God moves in your life, that movement creates momentum. And momentum is unstoppable unless you stop believing in it. You've survived the roaring storms, haven't you? You've endured the obvious attacks. You've weathered betrayals that came with fanfare and drama. But the whisper test? This is where champions are separated from casualties. Remember Sarah? Genesis 18. God promised her a son when she was 90 years old. She laughed. Not because she didn't believe God could do it, but because her natural mind couldn't process the supernatural promise. For months, maybe years, she heard whispers, "You're too old. It's impossible. You heard wrong." But when Isaac was born, her laughter of doubt became laughter of joy. She declared in Genesis 21:6, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." The whisper test revealed the difference between her temporary doubt and her permanent faith. Right now, I need you to stand up. Wherever you are, in your living room, your bedroom, your kitchen, stand up and declare these words out loud. I will not miss my whisper test. Say it again, louder this time. Let your neighbors hear you. Let hell hear you. Let heaven record your declaration. I will not miss my whisper test. Because chosen one, Thursday unlocks what God has prepared. Friday tests your resolve to receive it. Saturday whispers lies to steal it. But Sunday proves that what God starts, God finishes. The question burning in the atmosphere right now is this: will you fight whispers with declarations, or will you let doubt steal what divine intervention delivered? Your answer will determine whether Thursday becomes your turning point or just another memory you second guess for the rest of your life. Chosen one, as we close this sacred encounter together, I need you to remember 3 eternal truths that will anchor your soul through Thursday and beyond. First, Thursday is not just another day, it is your divine appointment. God has circled this date in heaven's calendar specifically for you. The crossroads you've been approaching your entire life converges on Thursday. Every prayer, every tear, every moment of waiting has been leading to this turning point. Second, the whisper test is real, and it's coming. After Thursday's breakthrough, the enemy will try to convince you It was all in your head. But remember David's cave. Remember Jesus in the wilderness. Remember Sarah's laughter turning to joy. Fight whispers with declarations. Speak truth over doubt. Your voice carries the authority of heaven when it's aligned with God's word. Third, you are equipped for this moment. Every scar you carry is proof you survived what was meant to destroy you. Every closed door was preparation for the open gate Thursday brings. You are not walking into this blindly. You are walking into this with the wisdom of battles fought and victories won. But hear me clearly, beloved. You are not walking this path alone. The same God who parted the Red Sea is still parting ways for you today. The same God who made the sun stand still is orchestrating perfect timing in your life right now. He hasn't brought you this far to abandon you at your breakthrough moment. And beyond God's faithful presence, you have this community. Right here, right now, thousands of hearts are beating in unison with yours. We are not just viewers on screens, we are warriors in the spirit, intercessors in the gap, believers who understand the weight of being chosen. When Thursday comes and the whispers start, remember you have an army of prayer warriors standing with you. Before I release you into your destiny, let me ask you this. If God has truly prepared Thursday as your turning point, if He's been orchestrating every detail of your life for this moment, what will you do with the breakthrough when it comes? Now, let me place my hand on your shoulder through these words and pray over your life with the authority of someone who has walked with God for decades. Heavenly Father, I come before your throne carrying every precious soul who has stayed with us through this message. Lord, you see them, not just their struggles, but their strength, not just their pain, but their purpose, not just their past, but their promise. Father, I pray for Thursday's breakthrough in their lives. Whatever you have planned, financial provision, restored relationships, physical healing, spiritual awakening, divine connections, let it flow like a mighty river. Remove every obstacle, silence every voice of opposition, and let your favor rest upon them like morning dew. God, prepare their hearts for the whisper test. When doubt comes creeping in, when fear tries to steal their joy, when the enemy whispers lies about their breakthrough, strengthen their voices to declare your truth. Give them boldness to fight whispers with declarations, doubt with faith, fear with courage. Lord, surround them with your peace tonight. Let them sleep in the confidence that you are working while they rest. Let them wake up Thursday morning with expectation in their hearts and authority in their voices. Show them signs, give them confirmation, make your movement in their lives undeniable. Most of all, Father, let them feel your love. In their loneliest moments, be their comfort. In their weakest moments, be their strength. In their darkest moments, be their light. Remind them daily that they are chosen, they are loved, and they are never alone. In Jesus' mighty name, I seal this prayer with faith, hope, and unshakable love. Amen. Chosen one, I want you to know that this community is here for you. In the comments below, share what God spoke to your heart today. Tell us what you're believing Him for this Thursday. Ask for prayer, we will surround you with intercession. Share your testimony when the breakthrough comes. Your victory will encourage someone else who's still waiting. And please, share this message with someone who needs to hear it. There's someone in your life right now who's approaching their own Thursday moment, who needs to know they're not alone, who needs to understand that their struggles have been preparation for their breakthrough. If this message touched your soul, if you felt God speaking directly to you, subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. This isn't just content, this is a movement of awakened chosen ones, and we're building something powerful together. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Thank you for opening your heart, for believing God has more for you, for refusing to settle for less than His best. Your faithfulness to watch until the very end tells me everything I need to know about your heart. You're ready for what God has prepared. Thursday is coming, chosen one. Your breakthrough is on the horizon. And this community will be here to celebrate with you when it arrives. Until we meet again, walk in the authority of who you are, rest in the certainty of God's love, and know that your greatest chapter is about to begin. God bless you mightily, chosen one. Thursday changes everything.